The learning session is Language of Silence and Higher Communication. And today is 8th of October 2022. So we will start with first understanding of that why we need to do silence and what does that mean, the language of silence. So to understand this, the spiritual context, some are still joining. So now with this, first is that why silence? So to understand that, I will not make it very complicated, but the simple understanding is the silence is the gateway between our external world and inner world. Only through silence we can get in touch with our own higher self or soul consciousness. It cannot happen if our attention is outside. We are talking, we are watching, we are doing something. So then our attention is drawn outside, in the outside world. And if our attention is drawn out in the outside world, we cannot get in touch with our own higher self, which is inner self, or soul consciousness. So silence is basically the gateway to start the inner world. And first to get in touch with our own higher self, then further there are much higher domains are there, higher dimensions are there, ascended masters are there, and many other things. So in that way, observing silence is important. Observing silence basically means you are stop your activity of your five senses. We have been given the five senses, all these things, to see or hear and smell or taste and all the touch and all these all five senses. Unless until we stop using them, our attention will not go inside. Okay, so that is the fundamental understanding of why need to be silent. And of course, while silence means we should not talk, we should not move too much, not feeling different things, we should not eat at the same time. And come back to the listening part later on. And of course we have to close our eyes so that we don't keep on getting visual input from the outside world. The purpose is simple. Purpose is not to use our senses so that our focus goes outside. We have to take it inside. And it all starts with the silence. So this is the fundamental understanding of that. Now, next, the question what I put here is, many of us, we live in a society, in a place or in a home or wherever we are. There is a lot of sound already there around us. So we cannot get silent moment or silence. Means even somebody is asking what to do. Should I wake up in the midnight and that time no sound there? It is not practical and it is not the right understanding. Okay. This you can observe silence even though externally there are noise. Okay. Yeah. So it is about your own silence. It is about your own attention drawing inside. When we draw attention inward and when we open up, in fact, all the sounds, what we do in the sixth step, all the sounds around us, we can do it in our benefit to expand our awareness. When we reach inside, not before that. Not to listen when we are using our five senses. But when you go to a state, inner state, and then we can use the same sounds to expand our awareness. So it will help us. So silence means you need to be silent. You need not to make the world silent. That is not possible. It is beyond your control. You don't have the power to do that. If it is automatically silent, it's okay. That's good. Hmm. But if it is there is a sound, etc., there is no issues there. You can still draw your attention there. In fact, the best meditation practices we can do where there is a lot of noise outside. I practiced many times in the mall or in an airport. Too much noise going on. But that is the thing. It will strengthen your meditation. It will resolve to go inside, will be strengthened. So even if there is a lot of things outside, so though you are detached from it, basically those are telling you to get detached, so that the moment you give attention, your focus will go outside, and you will break your meditation. But it is possible. In fact, it will strengthen your meditative power if you practice in the place where it is full of sounds and other noises and things like that. So in that sense, external noise, don't think that they are disturbing you. They are basically helping you to expand your awareness. When you go to the awareness level, it will help you to expand your awareness. But initially, at the time of starting, don't give that attention outside, because then you will never be able to go in and go to that state where the awareness level where the expansion is required. You will not be able to reach even there. So that sixth step. Anyway, so this is about the silence is about your own silence. Try to reduce as much as possible of your activity of five senses. Be still, and then basically it is a meditative state. So initially many who are starting new, they cannot meditate. They said, I cannot even sit down and meditate for some time. So then the stage before meditation is just to sit down somewhere without doing anything. Some people even cannot do that. They need constantly something, movement here and there, and going here, coming there, and do something, but not. So start with sitting quietly, then not talking, not giving attention outside. Slowly, slowly you come to a state where you can go to a level where you can do that. Because we are programmed to always go with our thinking mind. That thinking mind, as you know, always chattering. So it keep on putting something or other in our mind, and we keep going round and round with that. You might have seen that somebody may come inside a room and immediately start the television, okay? Because they cannot tolerate silence. Something has to go on. Something has to go on. Somebody is getting into the car, immediately start that music or whatever, CD or radio FM or something like, because they cannot withstand this thing. We are programmed that way. Our mind is too much externally drawn. So that's why we need to practice silence to come to a state where our inner journey can start. So that's why I thought it is better to give importance. This is a basic thing, but it is need to be understood, that context. So if you're saying that I'm not been able to meditate it well and all this kind of thing, don't bother. Initially, just be silent. Sit down and be silent. That will slowly, any new thing we start practicing, it takes about 21 days to get internalized. Then it will, for any skill, it is there. For learning cycling, swimming, anything we do. So same here, we need some time so that this new habit pattern has to be internalized. Then you'll be able to sit down for initially 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then be silent, not talking. But still you will be listening, but sometime even you will be, sounds will come, but you will not give attention to it. You will come to a state of getting detached. Sound will be there, but you will not get too much disturbed about it. So that is slowly coming to the meditative state where you can start that inner journey of that one. So this is about the thing called silence. What is the purpose of this silence, and what is the silence mean? You cannot stop any external sound, etc. but you can do on your own. Your own silence, that is more important. That's what will take you in a world, not the outside. Even if everything is stopped, you may not go inward unless until you attempt to do that. So external silence will not automatically trigger you to be spiritual. So that is the thing. So that is about this first two questions what I have written. Then it is, what is meant by silence speaks? Is it not contradictory? Okay. See, there is a famous book by a master. His name is Eckhart Tolle or Eckhart Tolle. So his name is a very famous master. There's a lot of books that The Power of Now and many things. The Silence Speaks is one of the books, his famous book. I also have that book. So this silence speaks, basically what happens is, it means it is not a speaking by this tongue or mouth. What it gives, that when you go deep into the meditation, you silent your mind, you silent, detach from all those things. Then what happens? Your soul consciousness started communicating with you. In fact, it may be communicating all the time, but you are not listening because your mind is always chattering. So when you observe this external silence, and then slowly, you come to a stage where thoughts will reduce. When thoughts become nil, that is called stillness of the mind. Okay, so external, no sound is called silence. Internal, no thought, equivalent of internal state, it is called stillness. So in that case, not the silence, in fact, stillness speaks. I think the book name is Stillness Speaks. I have to check. But anyway, the idea is that when the mind is still, there is no noise in the mind, that communication start happening. That is when you are in an inner silence, then communication will happen, but communication happen with whom? With your own higher self. Earlier, whatever we used to do, used to pray, we used to, do something, chanting and all this thing, listening to mantra and all these kind of things. That's what we are doing, some external thing we are doing and getting to connected. It's okay. Prayer is also a very powerful tool to convey our message, our request. That's absolutely fine. But understand this, even we do, it is a good spiritual practice, to pray, to chant and to bhajan and all those kind of things. But that will only thing is to make your attention from multiple areas to one area. It will just channel your focus to only one thing. But it will not make the thing zero unless until your inner silence is there, completely zero. Zero means no thought. The communication will not open. Communication with your higher self will not open. That's why the thoughts are called the internal noises, the chattering of the mind. So in this, you need to, when your mind is under control, thoughts are reduced. You may not hold no thought for a long time, but whatever you do, at least if you are reducing the thought, that is good enough. You will be started listening to the voice of your soul consciousness. It is, we call the whispers from beyond. We receive it like a whispering. Somebody is whispering. You cannot hear through your physical ear. You cannot hear from the physical ear, but you can listen. Internally, you can understand something is coming. It may come like a thought reading. It can like a thought reading, a new thought come which you not created. So I will come to that communication part little later. But you will be able to get something, you have not created it. That is how your soul is communicating. But if your mind is chattering, you are busy with the thoughts, you are giving attention to the thoughts, then you will not be able to hear this kind of your soul's voice, which is whisper from the beyond. And I'm just reaffirming what is the purpose of spirituality? Purpose of spirituality is to connect with our own soul, because our soul is our inner guru. Connect with our own soul and, get live our life under constant guidance of our soul. That is the purpose of spirituality. To get the guidance, you need to communicate with the soul. No? Whatever soul has to say, you need to God guide you. Just to come down, and you have to be able to receive it, and that should be meaningful. Then you will be able to act on it. That is all called that your inner voice, or your soul's consciousness, or whatever you call it. Those are basically your soul consciousness is telling you to do something, or advising you something, cautioning you something. So that you need to listen. But your mind is constantly chattering. That listening may be distorted. It is like, maybe I'm talking to you, you are listening. If there are loud, volume of music is going on in the same room, wherever you are in, you will not be able to hear my voice, right? It is not that the voice is not coming, but it is other things are so distracting that you will not be able to concentrate on this, whatever you wanted to listen. Normally, the same thing happens with our own, when we try to communicate with our higher self. Soul may be sending something, but we are not been able to make it out because of too much of internal noise, too much of thoughts inside our mind. Okay, so that is the primary reason. So the next is, so that is what is meant by silence speaks. Okay, now let me go to that. So silence speaks means that when we start listening to our soul's voice, that is called the silence is speaking. Means that silence make the background, make the platform, so that we'll be able to receive the messages from our own soul consciousness. So who speaks here? When we are silent, our soul speaks. Our heart self speaks. Or speaks means is not talking, sends messages, which is meaningful, which is clear. There is no confusion, ki it is something or not, or it is absolutely clear. Like you can hear my voice coming to you, you understand who is talking, what is talking. What does that mean? Same there. You'll be able to, make it out that what is the message, what you are supposed to do, and all these kind of things. Yeah. So this is called silence speak. So it is the hard thing. In fact, there is communicating. Our own soul consciousness is the first higher communication. But not only soul, there are many, the masters and guides, they can also communicate with us. We can connect to the higher domain, and then also there are the entities there. Some maybe Rishilok or something. Some masters can come and speak, talk to us telepathically, like this way. Those are all possible. Those are all higher dimensional communications. And these higher dimensional communications we practice in our sixth step. When we go to the expanded awareness state, then we take help of our own soul consciousness as a guide to explore whatever we need to know at that moment. So that is also important part of it, that when we are ready, only that time the message will come to us. When we are not ready, that kind of message or things will not come, because that will be no useful. And then that whatever we need to know, so then it will come to place, and the pure love, everything will come through that channel. So that will the experience of the expanded awareness and the divinity, or finally the oneness. All will come. All starts with just silencing our mind, and so that everything we get up to that level. So now Then also the higher dimension with whom, and what is the purpose of higher communication? The purpose of higher communication, as I told you, all our spiritual journeys are unique. So every stage of our spiritual journey, we need to get a guidance, and we cannot have a better guide than our own inner guru, which is our soul consciousness, and who can guide us to which level, what information or what guidance, what knowledge, what universal knowledge we need at that particular time. It can guide us to that, and we can get that from there. So that is the purpose of the higher dimensional communications. And while doing it, let me also give some other kind of voices we can listen. In Zen, in the Zen tradition, whoever has gone to that, wanted to practice the Zen meditation and all, so normally they have given a task by their masters to listen to the sound of one hand clapping. One hand, we clap in his two hand, no? It's a one hand. They are asked to meditate on that, and then so they are at the most of the time they said that it's not possible. How we can listen to one hand, the clapping, and most of the time they could not do it. So then the master says, go increase your alertness, increase your awareness, the sensitivity, more and more. Then you will be able to listen to that one hand clapping. So finally what happens is they started getting some sound, and that sound is literally is not, in the clapping sound, but it is the sound of our own heartbeat. Yeah, we can able to listen to our heartbeat, and that in Zen, the culture, or Zen, the philosophy or path, it is called sound of one hand clapping. So what I mean to say is that go to that level of alertness and awareness needs complete silence and the focus. It's basically a tool to focus yourself, so that it is practically outside. It is not possible. If you're looking, somebody is clapping in one hand outside you, you will never get it. That's the point. It is within you. When you go to the awareness level, when you can listen to your own heartbeat, then your awareness has increased. You have a level of that where further, higher communication can start. But that is also another way to practice that we already did earlier session, that Hridaya Upasana. And so if you focus on that, that is also another good tool to expand your awareness, and to more you concentrate on your heart and listen to your heartbeat, and through your heartbeat you expand your awareness and go to the higher level of expanded awareness. That is all possible. So these are all the tools what we use to get into that, use that silence and get into the higher dimensions. So these are the tools of higher dimensional communications. You can also, some of us, we have 3 ways actually to go into that this higher dimensional communications. So everyone has their own, preferred way, but it works better for somebody. And all these 3 we normally practice during our 6-step Nirmal Dhyan. Some place or other it comes. The first technique is to go to the higher dimension is through the gap in the thoughts. We say that, you cross the gap, find the gap first, thoughts are running around. So too much of thought, how to do that? You cannot control the thought, but if you're alert, then you can find the gap between 2 thoughts. Then focus too much, very intensely onto that gap. The gap will widen and you will be able to pass through that gap. And that is also, I normally give analogy of crossing a road like a traffic. So you have to find the gap between 2 cars and then you can cross the road. Same here. So you can find the gap between 2 thoughts, and that can take you the other side in the higher dimension. You can go directly from there. You need not to go for the other steps and all those things if that clicks with you. Some of us that we don't need to go to any other method that works for them. So that is the one. Another one is through the Sandhikal Jagruta, through the breathing, the turning point of the breathing. If you are aware, you can go to that higher dimension through that route. You can already go there and go to the any level through that as well. So, and that is also second route. And third route is that through your heart, focusing on your heart and heartbeat and be synchronized with your heartbeat, and that takes you further to the expanded awareness. And then you reach, it take you to the higher dimension. The three techniques already we are practicing. So whatever it suits you most, you can give more focus on that. Okay. And ultimate aim is to establish the higher dimensional communication. The higher dimension, whoever is communicating with us, or we are requesting some communication with someone, that it is also you have to request the other, the other entity, whether ascended master or the departed ones or loved ones, or maybe our own, guides and angels, or even our higher self. They need to respond. It is like giving a call, missed call, that other party has to, mobile has to receive the call and return the call. If any one party is not interested, communication will not happen. So same here, but the ways to, it doesn't mean the technology is not correct. Technology is correct, but the other party also willing to communicate. And then what happens is, when the communication happens, they use our own mind spaces for communication, like a blackboard. First, you have to request something through your intention. Intention is not thought. It is the energy state of what you wanted to do. That is your intention at the energy level. So you put the intention and then you keep your mind quiet for some time. Through the practice, of course, it's needed, but at least you minimize the thought so that you are not confusing with anything else. Whatever next thought comes, that is the answer. The other person, other entity is communicating. Then you give your next intention in the same mind space. Another kind of message will come there in your mind as a thought. But how do you know that is the answer? Because that is not created by you. You know which was your intention. Something which is coming with you didn't intend, you didn't created it. That is the answer. But you will understand this only when you quiet in your mind is completely silent. Only then this is possible. If there are too many things, like I give an analogy, if the blackboard is full of written things previously, then what you are writing, what others are writing, nobody will make it out. So that is not actually communication. So first thing you have to do is, wise thing to do, you have to clean the board. Blackboard, everything is clean. That is equivalent internally. Use our thoughtless state, go to the no thought level, and then start this communication. First, you ask or request or plead or whatever with your own intention. Then another thought will come, which will be the answer, and it can go one by one, and that is the way to develop the higher dimensional communication. We can establish communication with anyone, of course, provided the other side also is willing to go with our this kind of the conversation with you at that moment. Okay, you can ask questions, you take guidance or any new knowledge, new technique, whatever the many things I received from Babaji, mantra and technique and all. During COVID, he has given some technique how to get immunity from the COVID. Means you make your body so strong, the COVID will not affect you. That's a long time back. I shared also in the group that time, I think 2020, sometime in the beginning, April or something. We got the technique, and by his grace, I never had COVID, in the whole thing. But don't take it otherwise. Don't think if you had COVID, that means you have done something wrong. Nothing like that. I'm saying it that if you practice that, and then it works. What Babaji has given, and whenever he's given these things, also loving protection and many other things already shared. We had a session. Everything came through this channel, like higher dimensional communications, by this kind of thought reading or this kind of way only. So that is the way we communicate with our with our higher self and higher dimension entities. As I'm just sharing in my communication with Babaji also happens in exactly the same way. I put the intention, ask any questions, and and request Babaji to respond, and we get the most of the times I get the response, and then the communication start. Then I have a further question or anything I like to clarify or any guidance I like to take. It comes, and then it happens that way. So this is the way we the communicate with higher dimensional entities, the masters, and that we can then utilize it for our own awareness development or our own, the Brahmagyan, the spiritual knowledge, and all those things. So that way it guides us. So now I'll take a question. So if you have any question in this regard, you can just come forward and ask the question.
Pranam Guruji.
Pranam, Hari Om.
There is one term being used as vibrant silence. It is the same thing as what
Oh, yes. Yeah, very good. So, okay, Hariom has, reminded a very good point. I missed it. I should have told this during the session. See, what happens is that ultimately we have to reach to the state which is called vibrating silence. Like it is go to the inner and higher level of things and go to the level of oneness. We reach to a state called the vibrating silence. Means it is a silent but full of energy. It is not a dumb silence. It is not a sleeping or unawareness, or going to the coma side kind of thing. It is silent, but it is full of energy and vibration. And this particular state, it can be achieved when we go to the very high level of our the meditative state. That is the time we touch upon our source. In fact, that vibrating silence is the source of all creations. You know, the whole creation, the universe was created from that silence. Then it started with a vibration of Om, and that makes it happen further. So when we go to the level of deep meditation, go to the highest level of your consciousness, you will feel that it is silent but full of energy, full of potential, and it is vibrating silence. Means it is so much the high energy. It is vibrating. You can feel that vibration, but silence. It's not making any sound or any noise or anything. It just experience of the stillness, the complete, you know, the silence inside you. So that is the highest level of silence we can achieve, and that is the level of oneness we achieve that. So thank you, Hariom, for reminding me of that.
welcome,
That is the
Guruji.
highest level of silence we can experience through meditation or our spiritual journey. Any other question? No question?
Yeah, I have a question, Sonika.
Yes, Sonika.
As you're saying, in silence we get answer, but can we get answer at any point of time while doing anything, but the answer is very clear?
It's possible, but the thing, it needs a lot of practice. Okay, it is possible to get the answer anytime. Okay, but it needs a lot of practice to identify that it is an answer, it is not your mind projection. Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what it needs practice. You can mind can also inject any thought, so that may not be the response from the higher dimension. But it is possible in the masters and all, they communicate at any time, even walking, talking, driving, they can communicate anytime, no issues. Okay, because they develop the mastery that which is actually communication and reject, filter out which is the mind creations. Okay.
No, I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about others. That
No, it is possible, but thing is, my advice would be initially you practice this during meditation, when you consciously silencing your mind, because that is a prerequisite. If mind is chattering, then it is not possible to hear anything, or it may contaminate that message or something. You will get a wrong message. So that is not the right platform to do it. But I'm just to answer your question. It is possible to get that message at any time.
thank you.
Okay. All right. God bless you. Nirupam, you raise your hand.
I have a questions. This is regarding the vibrating silence. Okay,
Yeah.
so vibrating is actually stillness of mind. Actually, my understanding was that stillness is stillness. There cannot be any
Yeah.
vibration. So that is the final target, or that is the purpose of it. So as I was trying it, and I was feeling that it is actually vibration is there. So it is not the stillness. That is what I perceive also. Then the next thing, what is happening is that in the vibration, how actually if it is stillness, I am very comfortable. If it is vibration, I am not very comfortable. There is some fear factor is coming. How to overcome that part? Actually, it is.
Okay. And Nirupam, there are two aspects here. Okay. First, let me just little bit of make it a right perspective. Stillness of mind, it does not mean the absence of any vibration. Only your mind has to be still. There'll be a lot of other vibration you can feel, you can get into, when you go to the particularly you are crossing that different layers of the higher dimension, you will feel that like something light, like it is vibrating like this, pulsation. So those are also vibrations, but only thing is it is not creating any sound. So you may have to go through many layers of vibrations without your mind getting involved into it. That is it. That is the starting point of that. That has to be still. That has to still, so that you can go to the further higher and the deeper level. But it does not mean that it has to be still all along. Only your mind has to be still, so that you can go out of the clutches of the mind, and that is the first part of it. Okay. And the second part of it is that when you go to that level, in fact, it is like I call it taking off from the flight, taking off from the ground. It doesn't matter what is happening on the ground. In fact, at one level, many people say, I feel some thoughts are coming and all kinds of things. My guidance is that don't bother if there is something. Don't give your attention. It is like some clouds are floating below you, you are flying above. So you can still experience those things without getting affected into all this, what is going in the, below you. So you can only experience that kind of thing. So even if something in the, something came accidentally into the mind or something is happening, don't give your focus there. You continue, and your spiritual, whatever the purpose, whatever the meditative, experiences, will get it. Okay. So that is not initially it is a must because you have to cross that layer. That's why it has to be absolutely still, otherwise it will not take off. But once it is took off, you are into the higher dimensions, then little bit of here and there, it doesn't matter. Few thoughts coming, going, it doesn't matter. Unless until you communicating, then you need the mind space only. Then you have to clear that space to communicate. But otherwise, to go and experiencing is possible. So is that what you are asking or something else?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I got it. So I have to ignore that whatever vibration, what is happening, those things I have to ignore it actually. I
No,
don't
no,
have to.
not vibration. The thoughts. Even there are few
Okay,
thoughts
okay,
below you, like a
okay,
small clouds are floating below you. You are already 30,000 feet in the flight. So those clouds will not affect you. That's what I'm saying.
okay.
Just ignore them, but you take your flight up, no issues. Okay, but experience that vibration and other things, that you experience that will be a spiritual experience.
Okay,
But
okay.
those are not the thoughts. Those are not part of. Those are need not to be stopped as a part of the stillness of the mind. Okay.
Correct. They are the welcome sort of thing. That is what I have to
Yeah.
explain.
Yeah. All right. Any other question?
Guruji,
Yes,
I have a
Chaitali.
question. Yes, Guruji, sometimes whenever we are in a serious situation or whatever, we think, and sometimes our mind says something and our heart says something. Is it related to today's topic?
No, that is a little different. What you are saying, that our gut feeling or inner voice is telling us
Yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah. So no, that is yes, it is your inner voice, but that is not the communication. That is a one way. I'm talking about the communication with two way. You know, you're feeling something. Something is it's not correct. So that is the inner voice is telling you, cautioning you about that. That is correct. That is also there. But that is not the communication. What I am talking here.
Okay,
Communication is the question answer. Asking question, getting answer, and things like that. That is communication.
okay. Thank you, Guruji.
Okay. God bless you. Any other question? All right. So we'll go into our